run out to?
Well,
I told her what we paid for this one, but
every technology, there's different 3D printer technologies. So, for instance, this technology, which is called ColorJet technology, the prices can range anywhere from beginning 28,000, and the largest unit, which is the next model bigger than this one, runs about 130,000. But now that's just this technology. Then you get into multi-jet printing technology, you get into what they call stereolithography, you get into selective laser sintering, and then you get into metal printing. Those are just some of the other technologies, and with those I've got printers that run about $1.4 million for my metal printers.
$1 million?
But that's for the metal printers.
I'm thinking you need to invest more in those chocolate printers. I know there's a bunch of girls.
Well,
Yeah.
we've got those too. We have those, yeah. The Chef Jet, I'd be glad to set you up with the Chef Jet. That's what they're called, the Chef Jet. So they're actually used a lot of times in bakeries, and certainly in education facilities where I don't know what you call it, I'm dating myself, we had it called home ec, so whatever they call it now.
Culinary arts.
Culinary arts, thank you. So for instance, if you wanted to create, think of a bride and groom like on top of a topper on a wedding cake. Well, you know how they're those ugly plastic things?
Yeah.
So you can actually have real ones printed and they're all edible. So any of the edible things that you can put on desserts, cupcakes, things of that nature, that's what comes off the Chef Jet.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I would,
You can start a culinary along with a construction.
where are we going to
right?
put that? I mean,
it's,
this
it's
is
a
in
little smaller than this one though.
it's
Bill.
in a
Yeah,
cubby
quite a
hole.
bit
This one's in
smaller.
a cubby hole as it is.
Does it run more expensive or cheaper?
The Chef Jet?
The Chef Jet, yeah.
It is truly sugar. So it's the price of whatever sugar is running.
Huh.
What's the machine cost? I think is what she.
Oh, the actual
Yeah.
machine. Okay, the actual machine runs, no, it's inexpensive. It's like around $10,000. I say relatively, that's compared to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All things are relative.
$1,000.
There are some inexpensive
Maker box.
Yes.
like Maker box.
Yeah, so like the lower end fused deposition modeling, which I don't know if you guys understand what that is. Okay, so fused deposition modeling is, if you know what weed whacker, what a weed whacker looks like? Okay, so that's basically what fused deposition modeling is it basically extrudes out in a weed whacker form and layers, continues to layer and build your part up. Okay, so those you can get inexpensive 3D printers, they start at 3D Systems has them at $1,900. You know, so you can get into, now they're not going to build huge parts, but
Yeah.
you can still get into.
A lot of high schools will buy
Yeah.
a low end unit like that so that they can just see how the parts are made. And they're appropriate for small parts, modeling, so you can see what you're modeling.
Yeah, it's a great introduction for students to get comfortable with it and familiar.
That's neat.
Any other questions?
So in all, they require a lot of work and maintaining for the 3D printers, like in general.
Not so much really.
Not so much.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna always, again, it depends on the technology. There's always gonna be some sort of maintenance, you know, whether it's cleaning the print heads, whether it's.
French does that. I
Yeah.
remember the old printers. I spend more time cleaning the printer heads than anything.
Yeah, so and again, it just depends on the technology, you know, as to how much time it's gonna take in terms of maintenance and so forth.
Yeah.
Some of them are almost maintenance free, some are not, some require a little more.
If we were to use this one more, most of the stuff I do to it wouldn't have a problem. The only problem I've really had with this one was, and I think it came from the factory that way, the hose was not connected. And all of a sudden we started getting ink on the floor. We couldn't figure out why, and we found that it wasn't ever hooked up.
It was never hooked up.
But is it much training to use one of these?
So what do you think? Do you think it took a lot of training?
If to basically use it, no. There are some things that we need to learn how to do dealing with color, to bring the color in it. Is that your secrets? But to just print, you know, I've got a file, I can put it in here. I can bring a file up. I need to find out too, I think with Bobby, there's an update of this software. I can bring a file in. I don't know what this one is, we'll try it. And I can tell it, it's wanting to know whether it's in inches, millimeters, or whatever, and what the powder type's going to be. I can come in here and say next, and if it's too big, I'll say 10%. And that's what the part would look like. And then once I got it in there, I could go ahead and stack more in. And once I'm done that, I come up here and say File, 3D print setup. That's ready. And now if I was to print this one tells me it would take 1 hour and 55 minutes to print it. And then it's going to take a while for it. It's only in 40 layers, so it's not very big. And then it would take, so it'd take about 3 hours total. And I thought I had that one here, that's why I brought it up. It doesn't look like I have it here. What's that? But that's all there is. Then I say hit print and I walk away. It fills up the bed and just goes on its own. When it's finished, it dries. When it's done, it shuts itself off.